Good afternoon and welcome to IIBN's podcast. Today we have Andrew Whitaker, CEO and founder of Culture Co-working Space in Cork City. Andrew, thank you so much. You're very welcome.
No problem, Fiona. Thank you very much for having me.
Andrew, let's dive straight in. Tell me about yourself. I'm really interested to hear about your business experience and background.
Okay, well, I suppose my main experience is that I have over 18 years in the motor trade. I worked in the family business, which was Johnson & Perrott. I started off in the IT department, then worked into our various accounts, fleet department. In 2007, I became the marketing manager of the dealerships. And then in 2010, I became sales manager of our Mountain Point dealership, which was at the time Jaguar, Land Rover, Volvo, Honda, and Peugeot. And then 2013, I became selling dealer principal of our Douglas Road dealership, which was predominantly Kia and Opel. I was there until 2018.
Fantastic. So you had the experience of working with some major brands there. What do you think that you would have learned most dealing with those brands?
I suppose it's in terms of you're dealing with big brands and the international aspect of it. So, you know, some were German brands, some were Swedish brands, some were Japanese or English brands. And you got to know the different personalities and maybe the different ways of doing business. And I suppose that you always had to deliver. So if you said you were going to do something, you had to do that. And you gained credibility and respect. So particularly when I was building new relationships at the start, when I was meeting people the first time, I would say, yes, okay, this is what I will do. And I made sure I delivered that. I may not have said I would sell significantly more cars than they wanted to, but I would say, yes, I can give you this. I will push to do more. And that helped develop a very good working relationship with people.
And the industry itself, I imagine it must be quite difficult because you'd have people coming in and purchasing and then you may not see them again for a very long time. How do you develop relationships with those people and try and get them to, you know, come back for repeat business?
I suppose the relationships with people was very much the ethos of Johnson & Perrott. The company is 210 years old now this year. So we would have had grandparents, parents and children coming in to deal with us. And you would have built up the relationships and they may have bought 5 or 6 cars from one salesperson. So you got to know who they were. But also, it's very important that you had a good after sales department, that when someone had a problem that they looked after them or they felt they could pick up the phone and ring anybody if there was even the slightest question. So you had regular contact. You know, once a year, it's probably not enough that you just maybe picked up the phone to check in with them and say, look, how are you? How are you? If you saw them at the after sales department, you went up and you spoke to them. And you listen to the person, so you might know like their family, their interests and stuff like that, and you could relate to them and build a kind of conversation and a good relationship with them over time.
I don't know about you, but I'm sure you're the same, but I love cars and I find I have a very personal relationship with my car. Do you think that's the same for a lot of people? Buying a new car is a very personal thing and, you know, it has to be the right fit?
Yeah, very much so. And what you would find before the internet, that say people would have come to the dealerships 7 or 8 times just to look at the cars or do their homework. Now they've done a lot of their homework online beforehand and they're coming in maybe 1 or 2 times. So they know what they want and they really want reassurance that the decision they've almost made themselves is the right decision. So they're going to ask you questions and you need to know the answer. And most people are coming in now as couples or with parents. So it's a big decision for people. It's the second most expensive purchase in most people's lives. So they want to be sure they're making the right decision. And then they might buy one brand and they're happy with that one brand. They will stay with it for, you know, maybe 15, 20 years. And that's good for the manufacturers. And it's very hard for that person to move from what they know. And if you look after that customer, they become very loyal to you that way.
So tell me, having worked and started your business career in that industry, you've moved on since. What do you feel that you have, I suppose, really learned from that experience and then you've been able to carry with you?
Well, I suppose the main thing is that I spent a lot of time dealing with people. And that's co-working is very much a people business as well. You're building relationships, you're building a community there. So, you know, you don't want to see someone for just 1 month, you want to see them for a long time. And similar to the long relationships we had in the motor industry, I have people here who've been with me since nearly the start of the business, and I've got to know them quite well. I know their partners, I know their families, I know their interests, and that's something I brought across. But also delivering what you can deliver. There's no point me telling someone I can do this when I can't do it. So I have to say, yes, this is what you're looking for. I can do that for you, and you try and work with the person to come up with a solution that works for them in terms of how they want to use a co-working space.
And so moving on now swiftly to the next bit of your journey in your business life. You came up with the idea of creating a co-working space in Cork. Where did this idea come from?
Well, I suppose after 18 years in the motor trade, I felt I wanted to get my own, start my own business. And I was looking around going, you know, a lot of the skills in the motor trade aren't necessarily transferable, but I said, you know, I'm good with people. What industries are out there that are good with people or people focused? And when I was looking out there, I said, you know, I think co-working in this industry is going to grow, but also, like, I have a young daughter. I think the concept of the 9-to-5 job is gone, and particularly what's happening now with COVID-19, certainly people are seeing that flexibility is crucial. So I wanted to find a space that would have free parking on site, 24/7 access, give people the flexibility that they need. And then I said, okay, work-life balance, because in the motor trade, some months I would be working 6 days a week, and maybe my work-life balance wasn't right. So I said, what's out there? You know, how do people exercise? How do I make it easier for people to have work, but also deal with the stresses of modern life? And I figured that culture would be the place to do it. If it was something that I was looking for, there's got to be more people like me out there. And so far, I've been proven right.
Brilliant. So how's the business been going for you so far? Obviously, COVID aside.
It's great. The first 3 or 4 months, it was very kind of tough. You know, you're building a business. There was very few people here. My first member came in. I got to know him very well, because at times there might have been just me and him. But then it started to grow, and word of mouth and advertising, and more and more people came in. And it's funny that some of my customers from the motor trade have come in to use the space now. So it's nice to have that kind of overlap. And then the week before COVID-19 lockdown, we had our best month ever. We were hitting financial targets of where I wanted to be, and everything was going very well. And we had plans for growth. Okay, the plan's being delayed, but those plans for growth and expansion are still on the cards. So it's just, we'll get through these couple of months. And one thing about these couple of months is that, as I said, I think more people will be interested in remote working, and they may find that while they like not having the commute, they may miss the social interaction. And that's the beauty of a co-working space, that you have the community. You can come in here, you work what you want, but if you want to talk to someone, that facility is always there.
What's your vision for culture? What would you like to achieve with the business?
Well, I suppose that maybe it's from the family background, but something that's long-term, a sustainable, profitable business. Whether I can certainly see in a couple of locations now. Are they in the same city, or are they going to be outside in different areas? I think potentially that the Marina or Cork City will be the main hub for culture, and then you may see smaller locations out in areas where there's a population that want to, outside of the cities, need a space as well. But it's a business that I want to keep going, I want to grow, and ideally hand it over to my daughter or to someone else, maybe whenever I decide to retire.
It's one thing that pretty much is going to be for certain, is that a lot more people are going to be working from home or working from spaces like yours.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. And I think one good thing about the model is that you may want to work from home full time, but then you may want to meet a client, or you may have a conference call and the Wi-Fi might be a bit iffy at the time. So with co-working spaces, you can book our meeting room for the hour. You can come in for a couple of hours at a time. You come in for a day. We give you that flexibility, and in terms of, you know, low cost as well. You're only paying for what you need. it gives you that option, but also then the people who say, yeah, 3 days a week is grand, I can look after my children or whatever, or I like being at home, but I want to go out for 2 days. That's no problem, we can arrange that for you. Or even people say, look, I work for a company maybe based in Dublin or London. I don't like traveling up and down to Dublin and London the whole time, but there's no office down here. It's no problem, you come here full time as well. So it's really kind of designed to be adaptable for the new normal. Like, we have an idea of the way it's going to go, and I think that flexible working, remote working was certainly a significant part of that in the future. But now it's just been accelerated a lot more, and that companies are realizing that they can trust their employees to work from home. And personally, in my own experience here, everybody that has the facility to work remotely, they are very grateful to their companies, and they're determined to make it a success. So they're putting a huge amount of effort, and they work incredibly hard, and they find it very productive here.
Very good. What's the environment like? Is there a lot of interaction between the people there, or do a lot of them keep to themselves?
Well, a co-working space is firstly designed for people to work. So you have a community there, and the people now, as I said, have been here since the start, so they know each other and they know about their families and their sports and interests and stuff. So that community is there. But if someone's working, you don't disturb them. Conversations tend to happen, say, at the communal areas where you might be having coffee or outside when there are people going for a walk together, where everybody's very respectful and mindful, and particularly a lot of questions I get asked are, is it okay if I take business calls? And that's the case for everybody. Everybody knows you've got to take calls, so we don't mind. It's like people have the earphones so it's not interrupted, but if you want to have a private call, you can step into our offices to take the call, or you can step outside. You just got to be pragmatic about it. But as I said, we don't necessarily have ping pong tables, or we don't portray ourselves as being somewhere that's very trendy or cool. It's not who I am. What we are is just somewhere that we know how to look after people, and we do our very best to make sure you enjoy your time here.
Tell me about what you can offer companies that would be based outside of Ireland.
Okay, well, I suppose one of the easiest options and the quickest is virtual office or business address in the city centre. We provide that service, and we can store your mail, or we can forward your mail on for you, whatever works for you. And if you are traveling to Cork, then you have a base. It's a very low cost way of getting a foothold in Cork City. We've had some companies that start off using a virtual office. Then they have gone to having some form of membership plan. So they might have 1 or 2 people coming over during the month, and they use this as their local sales office for Cork City or for the Munster region. But we're flexible. Whatever people want, we can work with UK companies that might come over 2 weeks at a time, or we have a virtual office for people across the European Union as well. So whatever people need is no problem. And I suppose that particularly a lot of UK companies looked at coming over with Brexit and the uncertainty around that. But once they've come over here, they've seen the potential, certainly in Cork. And if you start in Cork, you might see what's happening in the rest of Munster, and also obviously Dublin is a city that's flying. But there's a very low risk of maybe developing a new market for any company.
What guidelines? Obviously, co-working space is still pretty much a new thing, and I can't imagine that it would fit under many of the guidelines that have been spoken about. So what advice have you been given from the government, and what you can do?
We got a bit of guidelines on Saturday from the government in terms of social distancing, cleanliness, hygiene, temperature checking and stuff like that. So really what we're doing, social distancing is the crucial thing, and also the washing of hands, cleaning twice a day, deep clean at least once a week. So we're kind of putting those in place. The temperature checking, I have to make sure that it applies to all customers. It might just apply to staff and not to 100%, but they've given us some guidelines, which is good. And I suppose a lot of our guidelines would be similar to what's in a normal office in terms of the distancing. We may have to bring in perspex shields as well, particularly if there's areas where a team would be working and we can't social distance. So there's guidelines, but until we start to see the number of people coming back and when they come back, we'll kind of have to play it a bit by ear. We'll put most things in place, But some of the stuff we'll have to wait and see until we know exactly who's coming back and when they're coming back.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's not a short-term thing, is it? It's long-term. You know,
Yeah,
this.
and that's the thing. And I suppose I was just on a news site this morning for co-working, and I was interviewing with one of the company founders in Europe, and he said the most important thing is that we don't want anybody to get sick using our space, and that's what it is. Like, we want to make sure everybody's safe here, and that's the most important thing. And if there's a second wave, there is potential. Hopefully it won't happen, but we need to be in place and have protocols there until probably there's a vaccine. So this isn't just something that's going to be 2-3 weeks. It's going to be 6 months, a year, whatever. And we just have to be ready and make sure that anybody comes in here is safe.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you joined the IIBN back in January. So once we just launched the new Munster chapter.
Yeah.
So, and you've been experiencing, so you've had an opportunity to experience a live event and a couple of the virtual events. Have you enjoyed them so far?
They've been excellent, really. And I suppose the live event, I was really delighted at, like, with just how nice it was, and the location and the caliber and panel of speakers. Like, they were really excellent, and they're very relatable. And I suppose that, like, I'm a micro industry. Some of the things that, say, someone from the CEO of a Fortune 500 company may not be entirely relevant to me. Like, they have different businesses and different issues at times. But everybody that I've heard, whether it's at the webinars or the live sessions, they've been very, very informative, very insightful, and you've always gone, that's something I could try here. And they tell their story, and, like, they say the things that worked for them, the things that haven't worked for them. So, you know, I've always enjoyed them. And also, I got to meet some members at the first live event, and everybody's the same boat. Everybody's there to learn. Everybody's there trying to help each other. So it's a very nice, positive environment.
No, good. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Andrew, look, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time. Really interesting. Really enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about you, your business, and also getting an understanding about how co-working spaces are dealing with current circumstances and what you guys need to do going forward. And if anybody's interested at all or would like to hear more about Andrew's virtual office space, then do get in touch with them. Andrew, what's the best way of contacting you?
Probably by email, so andrew@culturecoworking.ie. I'd be delighted if anybody's any questions, or when we're opening again, like to have a tour or try it out for a few days. I'd be delighted to help.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's great. And well, look, thank you so much again, Andrew, and we'll speak soon.
Great, thank you much, Fiona. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye.
Bye.